Budget and Finance Committee and Metro Council. Before us, we have the Metro Transit Authority, Chief Executive Officer Stephen Bland. Mr. Bland, I'll let you do the introductions, and then you can walk us through your budget, and then the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, members of the Budget and Finance Committee, and other council members. I'm pleased to be here with you this afternoon. Joining me at the table to my right is our board chair, Gail Carr-Williams, and to my left, our chief financial officer, Ed Oliphant. Also in chambers, I know I saw him earlier, was another of our board members, Walter Searcy, and several of our staff members who are available if there are any specific questions that come up that they can answer. Since 2013, thanks to the support of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, the Metropolitan Transit Authority has been able to increase service hours by 32%. Implementing improvements including, but not limited to, the Stride free fare program for Metro Nashville public school students, additional service on our Nolensville, Bordeaux, and Charlotte corridors, expansion of access services for persons with disabilities, extension of the Music City Circuit to Tennessee State University in North Nashville, reinstatement of free transfers and a reduction of the price in passes and tickets for our customers, extension of the Herman Street bus into the Nations neighborhood, initiation of a new crosstown route along Thompson Lane, support for the Metro Nashville Homeless Impact Division with free bus passes for the Drive to End Homelessness program, and funding to Metro Planning in their Nashville Connector travel demand management effort. As you know, this magnitude of expansion comes at a cost, and those costs continue to grow over time with normal inflation. The proposed operating subsidy from Metro is flat for the third consecutive year, so no change, increase, or decrease. And as Metro funds make up over half of our operating budget, this lack of growth combined with normal inflation and a reduction in state-directed funding last year of $3.8 million leaves us with a structural operating deficit of $8.7 million, or over 10% of our total operating budget. Last year, we were able to mitigate this lack of growth in the operating budget by obtaining a one-time stream of capital funds from the Nashville Area Metropolitan Planning Organization and through cuts in administrative and other non-essential expense lines. This year, we will have reached the cap of allowable federal capital funds that can be converted to our operating budget, severely restricting our use of this technique in the future. In terms of reducing our expenses, 87% of our operating budget goes directly to the operation of transit service in the form of fixed route operations, access operations, and asset maintenance. Our total cost per hour of service provided, the best measure we have of our cost efficiency, has actually continued to decline over the past 4 years. This is all to say that the savings well outside of the direct operation of service is drying up. This will require that we implement both a general fare increase, which we have not done since 2012, and reduce our service hours, including the potential complete elimination of certain services. Overall, we'll need to reduce our total service hours by approximately 7%. The board and staff of the Metro Transit Authority do not take this lightly. We know that reliable transit service is central to the daily lives of thousands of Nashvillians, including some of our community's most vulnerable citizens. In this vein, the MTA board has instructed staff to undertake any service reductions and fare increases in a, quote, surgical manner that will also enhance the long-term effectiveness of our transit system to the maximum extent feasible as we are financially able to add service hours back in the future. Specifically, they have asked us to examine our options in light of the following design principles. First of all, equity. Changes will not unduly impact disadvantaged populations and/or neighborhoods. Related to our frequent transit network, of our 46 individual routes, 8 corridors carry about 60% of our ridership. So these truly represent the backbone of our system, and the direction is to preserve that network as intact as we possibly can. In terms of redundancy, reduce or eliminate redundant services where other transit alternatives exist within reasonable walking distance. With respect to efficiency, eliminate or reduce services on extremely underperforming routes. In terms of geography, assure that reductions are applied in a geographically equitable manner. And then finally, with respect to lifeline services, Regardless of how many or how few people may ride a service, somebody rides everything we operate. And impacts of service reductions or fare increases can range from inconvenience to severely compromising the quality of life of an individual. In those cases where individuals' daily lives may be severely impacted, we will attempt in every way possible to work one-on-one to try to identify alternatives. At their regular meeting next week, the board will consider an action to release a set of planned fare increases and service reductions for public comment. If approved, public hearings would take place at the end of May and into early June at locations throughout Davidson County, including at our central terminal. Following this hearing process, the board will consider final recommendations at their June meeting in conjunction with the adoption of the annual operating budget for FY 2019-2020. We will assure that all council members receive the proposals being considered by our board as soon as they are released, and again in June when final recommendations are forwarded to the board. Now, I understand and I know that this hearing is with respect to the capital budget, but the operating budget, but in our case, the capital and operating budgets are integrally tied as we apply federal capital funds toward preventive maintenance expenses that are located in our operating budget. Last year, we were appreciative to receive funding from Metro in the capital budget to support the acquisition of 19 replacement transit coaches. This local match was critically important as we were able to secure $9 million in extremely competitive federal funds for this purchase, as well as a very competitive State Improve Act grant. So we absolutely appreciate Metro's participation in this important project, which also, by the way, helps to reduce our operating expense. For the upcoming year, we've proposed a number of projects. First is required matching funds for our federal and state capital grants. And as we will be programming about $13 million of these funds toward the operating budget through preventive maintenance expense lines, it's critically important that we're able to match these grants. Otherwise, we'd be forced to make even deeper cuts and have a tremendously hurtful impact on the community. We'll also be asking for matching funds to support federal and state grants for normal vehicle replacements in both our fixed route system and our access ride system. Timely fleet replacement is central to both service reliability as well as keeping the operating costs down as low as we possibly can. And another area of focus that I know is near and dear to many council members' hearts is focusing on our stops and stations. We'll be requesting significant funds generally to expand our passenger shelter program. We've been able to install about 100 additional shelters throughout Nashville over the last 3 or 4 years, and we'd like to continue that progress, but also to begin to advance a network of neighborhood transit centers and other improvements. And active sites for these centers at the moment include North Nashville on Clarksville Pike, on the campus of Tennessee State University, as part of the Hillsborough High School renovation project, and at Donaldson Station. We're also requesting funds working in conjunction with Metro Public Works and Metro Planning on design for overall corridor improvements in the Dickerson Pike corridor. Provision of this funding, in addition to advancing these projects in their own right, will put us in a much better competitive position as we go after a variety of competitive state and federal grant opportunities. Madam Chair, members of the committee, members of council, I thank you for your time. I also want to thank and recognize members of the public, our riders, our union president, Patrick Green, for being here this evening for this particular hearing. And I'd like to close by saying that Nashville remains as one of only 3 cities in the top 40 in population that lacks a dedicated funding stream for public transportation. And unfortunately for both the MTA board and for this body, it puts you in the absolutely unenviable position of having us in competition with extremely critical other public services such as education and public safety. Unfortunately, the defeat of last year's Let's Move Nashville ballot initiative means that for the foreseeable future, MTA will continue to compete with these valuable services. And with the actions that we may be forced to take this year, we do hope to position the system to be more effective in the future as, again, we work with you and other community leadership to identify a range of funding options for mass transit in Nashville and the greater Middle Tennessee region. So, Madam Chair, I thank you for the opportunity to be here. I thank our board members for volunteering their time not just tonight, but a lot of time on an ongoing basis, and we're prepared to respond to any questions the council might have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bland. Any council members seeking recognition? Councilwoman Henderson.
Thank you, Chair Vercher. Thank you, Director Bland. I have to say this $8.7 million deficit from a funding perspective was the most disappointing thing that I saw in the mayor's budget. And I absolutely concur with you and support that we need a dedicated funding source for transit and transportation. And I found it extremely disappointing. I feel very strongly if this community had advanced a more fundamentals first type transit plan with a lot of sidewalks and increased frequency in bus service. And I think that would have been successful, to be frank. And so I regret that we are in the position that we are now. But I find it from the administration just, indefensible that we would reduce our frequency and a 7% reduction in service, especially since, you have maintained consistent ridership across that time and, in fact, increased it. I guess my question comes in, you indicated that 87% of your budget was in the fixed route transportation.
Well, in operations, including paratransit and the access ride system.
Could you break out then the access ride paratransit from conventional bus service? Just so we could understand that amount, please.
So one of the ways we've split our budget out, or if you look at our budget in detail, you'll see the typical wages and fringes, services, et cetera. We also break it down functionally, and the categories we divide it into are fixed route transit operations, paratransit operations, or the access ride system, asset maintenance, which would include maintenance of the vehicles, maintenance of our stops and shelters, maintenances of our buildings, central, employee benefits, safety and security expenses, for instance, our contract with Metro Police for their support, administration, marketing, development, and miscellaneous. In that breakdown, fixed route operations is approximately about a quarter of the budget. Paratransit operations is adds about another eighth. So now that's independent of employee wages or employee benefits.
Okay.
And then asset maintenance, if you combine the three, asset maintenance, fixed route operations, paratransit operations, it's about 60%. Okay. And then when you add in employee benefits, we approach 90%.
And then I know historically, obviously, because access ride serves definitely an important population that we want to support, but that is often, one vehicle kind of going out, picking up just a handful of folks and taking them exactly to where they need. And I acknowledge that's important. I do know that, like, the cost for that is extremely high. And could you speak to any kind of public-private partnerships in that space? Because that has seemed to me historically such a large chunk of the budget. And I understand that there's a mandate and those individuals must be served. But I wonder if in these kind of constrained budget times, are we looking at some alternatives in that space to maintain our fixed route service and that frequency and look at an alternative there in the paratransit?
Sure. Well, a couple things with the WeGo Access service is that, first of all, because it is a county-wide service, and that's something the board adopted years and years ago, and this board has always strived to maintain so that every individual in Davidson County can benefit from public transportation, even if they're 10 miles from a fixed bus route. Largely that cost is driven by, you alluded to it, it's much lower productivity service. So as an example, our average, the way we measure productivity is number of passengers getting on a vehicle in 1 hour of service. And on our fixed route bus system, that system average is about 17 to 18. On access, it's about 2. What we've tried to do, and actually what we've had some success doing in the past year in terms of the partnerships, is we offer a base level of service with our own operated vans, wheelchair accessible vehicles. We have a fleet of about 95 of them. And that kind of forms the backbone or the core. What we try to do for efficiency is to use a number of taxi and other service providers for all intents and purposes to peak shave, so that we're not sustaining that infrastructure, you know, when it's not needed. We'll use those outside bodies. And one of the things we've done in this past year is we've gone from having one alternate provider to four alternate providers. It's done two things. It's helped to control the cost. Frankly, it's also helped to improve the quality of that service because people have that competitive choice. The other thing we've done, one of the things that hurts paratransit productivity is because people have to schedule service one day in advance. Very often, if you're not sure of your plans, you'll schedule the trip. You may forget to cancel, what have you. Van goes out or taxi shows up, and the person doesn't take the trip. We refer to it as a no-show. In the past year, about a year ago, we initiated a pilot project called Access on Demand, which allows for same-day service scheduling. And what we've seen with it, it's a premium service. We charge a slightly higher fare for it. What we've seen and experienced is the level of subsidy isn't any higher, number one. It's dropped our rate of no-shows and late cancellations, number two, because people are able to schedule more in real time. And the customer satisfaction rate has been extremely high, to the point where now 13% of our Access riders are on the Access on Demand program. So that's one good example, and you could almost think of it as, you know, the Lyft for paratransit type of an approach.
Okay, and last question, if I may, Chair Vercher. I am concerned about just kind of the, I think what people often refer to as kind of the transit death spiral, right? Like you start to dial down the frequency that you're running on routes, and then your ridership declines, your community engagement declines. I mean, transit is more successful with higher frequency than you grow your ridership. And so I guess as you look to your board meeting next week and the proposal that you will make, I wonder if you might consider tiering that in some fashion, so just not operating from the assumption that you are going to have an $8.7 million deficit, but, you know, what if you were to have a $4 million deficit? So just kind of strategically tiering that in some fashion. I mean, I recognize you have to do at least one proposal that hits that number, and I know that's particularly complicated, but I hope this body can recognize that, you know, as Mr. Bland shared, we are one of 3 cities without dedicated funding. And so, you know, for us as a city, not to be just elevating or, you know, just really making our bus system excellent, frankly. I think that is what we should be focusing on, whether that's through the next referendum or this budget today. But we have got to improve our delivery on sidewalks so people can walk to take the bus. I appreciate the new transit shelters that you are adding, so we are dignifying our transit riders with a place to stand and wait that's not in a ditch. So I'm grateful for the good work that you're doing, and I hope that we as a body will recognize that transportation and transit is something that does touch and can touch, you know, all across this county. So it's really important, I think, that we not go backwards this year. Thank you, Director Bland.
Thank you, Councilwoman. If I might add, I'm glad you brought up the issue of the death spiral and the importance of frequency and span and high-quality service. And it's actually something we had a pretty extensive discussion with our board at their last meeting. I mentioned that 8 of our core corridors carry 60% of our ridership, and that tends to be those higher frequency, longer running routes. In addition to the direct service on those, and, you know, alluding back to the direction that Gail and other board members gave us of being more surgical, a lot of what we're looking at isn't just pure reduction or elimination, it's restructuring. and some of the restructuring may include converting more of our routes that go all the way into downtown, into crosstowns and more neighborhood type service. But for that to work, because you will force a transfer, those core routes that they connect to have to run very frequently, or it becomes a very unreliable way of getting around. So the hope is, obviously reducing any service is undesirable. You'd rather be putting out more. But certainly a goal in any restructuring we do will be to try to make it more effective as we're able to add back service hours over time.
Thank you, Councilwoman Henderson. Councilman Pulley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Director, a couple of questions. Looks like, based on the numbers we see in our sheets, that your state funding is flat, getting the same thing you got last year. And I understand there's a grant that you were hopeful you were going to get from them, from TDOT, and that did not come through. Is that correct?
Well, touching on the state specifically, there's several programs we're eligible and we participate in with the state. The main program they have on the operating budget side is called the UROP program, Urban Rural Operating Program, I think it stands for. And that's essentially been flat for a number of years. On the capital side, with the passage of the Improve Act 2 years ago, which was the big transportation bill, the state is putting more money into transit funding for the Improve Act, but that is a competitive capital challenge grant program. So, for example, when we were able to secure $9 million from the federal government, TDOT put in another $3.5 million out of Improve Act funds to match that for new buses. We'll be doing a big shelter project on Nolensville Pike this upcoming summer, that with an upgrade to about 20 stops that largely is being funded with Improve Act money. Then the other area which hurt us significantly is the state also directs the distribution of certain competitive federal grants, such as the Congestion Mitigation Air Quality Program. And back in 2012, MTA was successful in gaining these funds to operate certain services. And not the current administration, but the prior administration at TDOT, when that was up for renewal last year, determined that funding local transit service wasn't an appropriate use of those funds. They're continuing to use them on the regional side for our regional commuter services, but all told, that was about a $3.8 million reduction in technically federal money, but it was state-directed federal money.
So that would have been money that you got in addition to what you already get from the state. So that's not really reflected in the numbers that you show on your revenue side?
Right, it's correct. It is not there. It would have been there in the 17-18 budget. I'm looking at there.
At any rate, that's, what did you say, in excess of $3 million?
About 3.8.
Yeah, that we did not get, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
Really
And
sad to hear.
we didn't have it last year.
Right.
To be frank, the real problem, and it's a problem in general, but the real problem was we didn't find out we weren't going to get it until after the fiscal year started. So it really created, for lack of a better word, a budget crisis situation. And thanks to the Nashville area Metropolitan Planning Organization, they were able to scrape together some money to transfer over to us to use in the same fashion, but it was kind of a one-time shot. Now, we're continuing to work with the MPO to try to identify funds we can flex. The challenge is, and I know this gets deep into the weeds of what folks like Ed deal with, is the federal funds are only eligible to be used for capital expenses. But the Federal Transit Administration has defined the maintenance of capital assets to be a capital expense. So we can apply those funds through our operating budget to things like mechanic wages, parts, any contract repairs we have to do, say elevators or escalators. But for instance, we can't use it to pay driver wages or fuel or for printed information or what have you.
Okay. So is that the end of the road for that money? Or I guess I heard what you said, working with the MPO for other avenues or other grants that may help supplement that, because that's a pretty big chunk of money that you probably were counting on that you lost.
Yeah, and again, and I'm happy to talk to anybody in great detail because this could be a 2-hour session on the
Sure,
on all
and we
the
don't want to turn it
nuances
into
of
that,
CNA.
or a chair get mad at me for asking the question.
The challenge is the money that disappeared can be used for transit services, but only for a limited time. The particular nuance was when it was originally acquired in 2012, there was actually a change in federal law through Congress about 4 years ago that only allowed that particular year to go on in perpetuity instead of the 3 years. So if we had been renewed, continually renewed under the 2012 law, we could use it in perpetuity. Even if the MPO and TDOT are able to identify money now, that money would have a clock on it. And it also could not be used for current service. It would have to be new services related to reducing congestion and improving air quality.
Okay, well, thank you for explaining that. It does bear more probing to understand it at a more thorough level than I do now, but I appreciate you sharing that. We've got two other questions. One relating to federal, it looks like pass-through grants. You're like almost $1.8 million short there from what you had in 2019, so that can't be helpful to the situation.
That's the same number.
It's the same number?
Yeah,
okay.
That's the same line item.
All right. So that's about half of what you described from that state grant, but that is part of that number you're talking about. Okay. You mentioned something about, and this will be my last question, Madam Chair, about community service that you planned on doing. Is that strictly these public hearings? Will they be strictly relative to your fee increase?
No, it would be with respect to any of the changes that are being proposed. So any fare increase or any service adjustment.
And they'll be well publicly noticed so that everybody will know where to get there.
I have a feeling the folks in the back of the room will make sure that everybody knows. And we're going to try to make them accessible. And if we're on a relatively tight time frame, so they'd be taking place between the end of May and the middle of June. But for instance, if any council members have district meetings or ways of getting information out, you know, we want to make it as open as possible. I know currently we're working with facilities to schedule 8, including a couple right at Central, so people can just come, you know, while they're transferring or buying tickets or what have you. But we're obviously open to more if that's desirable.
Okay, well, thank you very much and appreciate all your good work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Pulley. Councilwoman Gilmore.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Williams, for your service, and thank you, Mr. Bland. I had a couple of questions. I did want to follow up on those 8 meetings. Do you already have the locations for those?
We
Outside
do,
of the, I know you said the central. If you could just.
We do. I don't have them in front of me. I see Eric shaking his head in the back, so we can certainly provide that information.
Okay, because I would like to know where those are. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And then I wanted to ask you about the access ride. You had mentioned, who are those contracts with that we are working?
Do you know offhand all the providers, the access ride contractors?
One is Taxi USA. And honestly, we'll just have to get that information for the other 3.
UServe is another.
UServe, yes.
Okay.
There are 2 other providers.
Okay, and I wanted to see too, are any of those minority or small business or DB?
I'm looking at Rita. Do you?
Can you come to the microphone for the viewing audience? State your name.
I told you you'd have to come up.
Good evening. Rita Roberts Turner, Chief Administrative Officer. I don't have the list in front of me, but I know that we have DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Participation with some of the companies.
Okay, good deal. And were any of them minority, though?
Yes. That's part of the classification for DBE includes minority businesses as well.
Okay, so I would like to see
We'll get you
specific breakout. I guess
Sure.
it can all be together. Okay, thank you. And then the next question is a kind of low-hanging fruit. You had spoke of a dedicated funding source. How does that look, and what models are you referring? If you could just give like a specific model.
Well, most cities, and what was on the referendum last year was a chunk of sales tax. But they are kind of all over the board. And when I mentioned Nashville being one of only 3 in the top 40 because in the past year and a half, Indianapolis and Raleigh and I forget the third passed. So now the three are Nashville, Gail's old stomping grounds of Detroit, and I forgot what the third one was. I've got it listed somewhere. But typically, they're, you know, sort of what was in Let's Move Nashville. They tend to be ballot initiatives, and they tend to just dedicate a portion of some source. For instance, in the case of Indianapolis, which was one of the more recent ones, it was actually a percentage on a payroll tax. And typically, they are what you can raise, typically, not always, is enabled under state legislation, and that's what the case is in Tennessee.
Okay, I got you. So we don't have a payroll tax, and our local tax is very high. So what other cities would kind of be comparable to us that we could use the models?
Well, the Improve Act, if you were to go to the referendum, so they authorize 6 sources. Surcharge on sales tax, surcharge on hotel tax, surcharge on business tax.
Okay, so you're saying that was a good model, in other words, that they...
Well, legally, that's what they've, you know, so even if we were to say, oh, you know, it would be great to do what Raleigh did, I think there's a sales tax. But if we're not allowed to do it under state law...
Okay, and then it was incremental, too, in that proposal. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gilmore. Councilman Cooper.
Oh, thank you, and thank everybody for being here. A couple of quick questions. In last year's transit plan, part of the funding was $2 million from the Music City Center over the next decade. Has that offer been withdrawn?
Well, I to be honest, I never had the offer. It was part of what was in the overall package that was worked on with Metro. The Music City Center has been working, and I'm sure you've read the accounts, on actually acquiring land for a potential future transit hub in Sobro.
But separately, it was always pictured that that was a revenue stream from the MCC for the operation of the transit plan last year. So I didn't know, again, that to me that's an interesting thread. Second question is, what is the approximate cost of, if you can, the sort of the downtown circulator, that kind of?
Sure. The Music City Circuit, and this includes the downtown portion as well as Jefferson Street, TSU, it's about 40,000 service hours a year. So if you apply our hourly rate, it's $4 to $4.5 million. And obviously that doesn't have, because it's a free service, it doesn't have, with most of our services, because you collect a fare, you'd say it cost X, and then you'd have to take whatever fare collections come off that. In the case of the circuit, other than a little bit of advertising revenue, there isn't direct operating.
And because it's free, do you know the ridership, or it's free so you don't even count it, or you estimate it?
I think I have, do you have ridership data with you? I can get you that within, literally by tomorrow morning.
Well,
Can we have it by route?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Chair Lady. And I noticed there's a sort of a fare decline from year to year, but is there a ridership increase? And we're providing more free and subsidized riders, so.
Ridership's up slightly this year. It's up about 1%. Generally speaking, and that's all over the place. We have some routes that are up 12, 13%. We have routes that are down significantly. The revenue decline that you alluded to, as we mentioned, you know, one of the things that Metro was able to fund in the last couple of years was reinstituting free transfers, which was a key equity consideration, and also allowing for the discounting of fares. And then what I would call several smaller programs like the Drive to End Homelessness program that we work with the Metro Homeless Impact Division on. So, but generally what we've seen is, and this shouldn't surprise anyone, over time consumers get smarter. So what we've seen transition is more people using free transfers, more people converting to discounted passes. Fortunately, I think this is a good thing. We've seen increased use and increased success in the Drive to End Homelessness program. But generally speaking, it's fewer dollars coming in from customers on a per ride basis.
And a final question, just back to the circulator. You all are reshaping those routes as our built environment downtown is changing, and are you expecting to need additional services, more hotel? I mean, famously, 3,000 more hotel rooms. So you're able to connect hotels to the Music City Center with the circulator?
We can, and it's also a very rich, downtown obviously is a very rich transit service environment because all but about 6 of our routes now come through downtown. So there's all sorts of service connecting. You know, the challenge, as I think everybody's aware, is whether it's construction, special events, general traffic, we're actually seeing a trend just due to general increases in congestion. We're having to add about 1.5% to our service hours every year just to sustain the operating schedule because it's just taking longer to run a route, and that includes the access system. And in fact, actually, and I sort of picked on TDOT with the cut of the one funding source, but in conjunction with the I-440 reconstruction project, they did provide us a contract to supplement services on the routes and for access in the areas affected by the construction of I-440 to supplement with extra vehicles and what have you.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman Cooper. Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Steve, and everybody for being here. I don't want to beat the dead horse about, sort of the deficit, but I just want to make sure I understand again, because I just kind of heard about this a couple days ago. I knew this was going to be an interesting hearing, but it looks like we're down the $4 million. We lost the grants. We're down $4 million. Were you expecting, I guess, were you expected to show up this year with, sort of going back to 17, 18 levels? Were you thinking, hopefully we'd get closer to what you had at least last year?
Well, I mean, the challenge is, and again, I absolutely don't envy you all the positions of, all of the functions in Metro government. When we submitted our original budget proposal, actually the approach the board's taken the last few years is we've taken a 2-tier approach. So what we've been submitting is, this is essentially what we would need to steady the ship, keep fare levels as they are, keep service levels as they are. But we also know, relative to cities our size, we don't have a whole lot of transit service, and there are a number of improvements we would like to make. So that second tier is always, well, if resources were available, we would like to extend service hours, add more crosstowns, improve frequency. So that was the way it was submitted. And the challenge, and it's a challenge, obviously for Metro finance staff, and it's a challenge for us, is when you're in that non-dedicated source, it really constricts the planning horizon. So I'm absolutely certain that when the proposals come out next week, people say, oh, well, this was rushed. Well, yeah, it was rushed. I mean, we have a lot of data and a lot of information to support, but because we are sort of in this year-to-year, unpredictability of what might be coming in, generally in the Metro, unpredictability about what other priorities are. I mean, everybody understands that priorities change over time.
Sure.
So it makes it a challenge.
Well, you were definitely mentioned in State of Metro, as I remember, and I was not expecting, to have a deficit on you guys this year. And basically what you're saying is you're cutting routes. I know a lot of your routes are like North Nashville, East Nashville, that kind of thing. You're upping the rates and cutting the routes is what I think I'm hearing you saying, which doesn't that hurt the people that need this the most?
Yeah. It absolutely does. And actually, Councilwoman Henderson mentioned the death spiral, which is a term that's often used in our industry, that when budgets get tight, you raise fares, you cut service, which drives ridership down, which kind of perpetuates the issue. So if nothing else, right, hopefully to kind of propel this into a discussion of whatever the next approach to funding might be.
Right.
I mean, I sit through and I watch and I read the hearings that you all are doing with all the departments. I couldn't tell you, oh, yeah, we need it more than X. They're all very worthy causes.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, and there's been lots of opportunities to fund transit. The referendum, obviously, we couldn't get. There was people, we didn't have support for it. unfortunately, because I think it was really needed and really great. And then we've had last year's budget and now this year's budget. So we've had opportunities. And, you know, we're not trying to be negative. I'm not usually the negative person, but, you know, we've got this austerity budget situation going on here, and I think that's just what we're feeling. You know, that's what we're sitting here feeling these effects. So if we can remember this moment as we go through this process, this is kind of the result of this austerity budget, and it's going to affect these people. It's going to affect our riders on the ground in a very real way. So I just think we need to take note of that. On a positive front, I was going to ask, are the MNPS kids still riding for free, and is that something that we're still able to offer? And
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And frankly, it was one of the issues. Well, one of the things we're trying to steer away from, because folks have suggested, well, maybe you need to do away with the free transfers. Part of the issue with that is because the MNPS kids make up between 15 and 20% of our ridership, depending on time of year. Obviously, during high school year, it's higher. During the summer, it falls off, but not as much as you might think. The kids use it a lot during school breaks and summers, and extensively use it for transfers, and it's important to get them to magnet schools and charters and what have you. But MNPS is capped. They obviously contribute to the cost of that program, but they have their own fiscal limitations. So,
which we're dealing with as well. Sure.
And that's why it even limits when we model what a fare increase will generate. We also have to factor in, particularly when we're late in a year, because we're working on those contracts with schools or with the state for their employees, ahead of time. So it's tough to turn that around very quickly.
Well, I look forward to continuing dialogue throughout this process. It's a long budget process, and certainly every idea should be on the table as what we should do this year. And I'm certainly supportive of ideas to improve this budget. And since we've been bringing up the referendums, I hope we can get there as fast as possible to the next one. Something I learned was, maybe the strategy next time I don't want to get too far into that, but we could go for, just a lot of bus stuff, and instead of, going maybe full bore. But in the community, that's what we told you to do, was go full bore, and that's why we did that. So I hope to get back to it sooner than later. I know it's a ton of work to build up to that, but it would be great. Meantime, though, this is their budget. This is what they're dealing with. It's affecting real people with routes and ridership, and we need to really look at that this year and see what we can do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilman Davis. Councilwoman Porterfield.
Thank you so much. One question that I had from some of the constituents in my community, they were sharing some concerns that due to gentrification, pushing people out of the core of the city and going to some of the areas of our city that have less frequent services. In your SharePoint, you talked about if you did have to make cuts, that will be done in a geographically equitable manner as well as a social equitable manner. So what is the plan to make sure that you are ensuring equity and making cuts to those routes? Because we definitely don't want to have an adverse, of course, it'll have an adverse impact on anyone that's riding, but we really want to make sure that we're focusing on those transit-dependent riders and making sure the process is equitable.
Well, in general terms, and there will be specific information by change as to, what types of folks are affected, what particular neighborhoods or number of jobs. As a general rule, because of our federal funding conditions, on any service or fare change, we're always required to do what's called a Title VI analysis. So what impact does it have on disadvantaged populations, and whether that's by income or race or disability or age, what those impacts are, to do a disparity analysis, and that's information that we always put together as part of any specific service or fare proposal.
Thank you. And then one other question. You talked about that Tier 1 and Tier 2 budget. With the budget cut that you guys are looking at right now, just in general, what services are we losing? Or if you didn't have to be bound by that budget cut, what services will we be missing out on?
Well, again, what we're trying to, I'm sorry, did you mean in the Tier 2, the addition, or?
Yes.
Well, the biggest thing short term, and one that we get a lot of requests for from customers, is later at night, earlier in the morning. So right now, our core routes end at about midnight, and most run at about 10. So, you know, extending that out longer hours overnight, particularly, I mean, in large part, it's a service-based economy. And a lot of our riders aren't 9 to 5. You know, they're working bartending jobs or housekeeping jobs or what have you. And that's easier to do short-term because we can do it with existing fleet. Greater frequency on routes and more crosstown service is, you know, in that upper tier of requests as well. That becomes longer term because we would actually have to acquire more equipment before we can put that service out. So that tends to be, so what you would have seen in this year's Tier 2 request was primarily the extension of service hours on many of our routes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Porterfield. Any other council members seeking recognition? Okay, thank you, Mr. Bland, for all you do for our city and your team. This concludes your budget hearing. If we can have the trustee's office begin to make your way down. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.